Hey, BassGeek here. A cold front just come through and you are not catching them on a jig head minnow like you were before. You were getting bites, you were getting nippers. How do you convert those into hookups? Well, I've got a trick for you today. That's right, geeks. So when you're out there and you're on a heavy pressured lake like South Holston, where we've got probably some of the best jig head minnow Damiki riggers that there are, and that's the Damiki rig really got its start right here on South Holston, and it spread down to Cherokee Lake where the elites finally found out about it. So this lake and these bass can get extremely tough. They've seen jig head minnows since before forward facing sonar, so they could probably recite the serial number or the SKU number for a lot of the colors that they see day in and day out. Now, all that being said, one of the things that always drive me crazy about this lake is you get those nippers, those nibblers, those little swatters, and it makes me insane. Well, I've got something now that is going to help you, and it's got a little more drawing power with a trick I'm about to show you. All right, geeks, this is the hookup head from Omega Tackle. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite ball head jigs, and it's because they have a built-in heavy stinger hook on it. Trust me, I've caught a bunch of fish on this already. They come in a few different sizes. This is the 1/4 ounce size right here. I like it because I can make one simple adjustment to it that gives it a little more flash when I need it and has a little more drawing power. Let me show you what that is. And what that is I take a treble spin and put it on there. Now this thing's got a little blade on it that draws just a little more flash and gives those bass a target to aim at. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take this hook off, we're gonna put this hook on. All right, so all I do is I get me a good set of split ring pliers and I just work it around. Once I get that around, I tend to like my split ring pliers. And then we just pop it in, slide it around again. And there you have it. Now let me show you the bait I love, and I actually got a bunch of them sent to me that I have been cracking them on this year with this head. So one of my favorite baits is the electric blue chartreuse, especially for these smallmouth, and believe it or not, these largemouth. And we've had a ton of rain, so this lake, which is normally super clear, is pretty dirty. So we're gonna go with this and see if we can catch some. How we rig it is, you geeks always know, I'm gonna mark me a little spot right here just by putting me a hole in it after I measure it up. We're gonna come straight back, straight down the middle, try to keep it as fat as possible. And we're just gonna shove it right up on there. And there you have it. We are hooked up. Now, you can do a few things. If you're around some cover, one of the things I'll do is I'll just take one of the hooks and hook it right in that belly. So you got a little bit of tailspin. The smaller bait, I will generally bend this down to where it's straight, and I'll just hook it right behind the hook. But to be perfectly honest, if I'm not really fishing it on bottom, I'm keeping this bent back a little bit, and I'm gonna let it hang down just like an underspin. But geeks, make sure you're checking out this head right here from Omega. This is one of my favorite things, and this is one of my favorite combos. We have crushed them today on this, and some of them have short struck, and we pulled them in alone on this hook. I'm telling you, the little blade makes a huge difference. It really seems to be putting some of those bites, those fish that weren't quite committed, it got them to commit. Now, I will say this, I like to use this on minnow baits also, but I'm gonna show you real quick some of the swammers, the new finesse swammers that XZone sent me. So these come in 2 different sizes. This is the new 2.75, which I am in love with. And this is the 3.5 mini. This is both the electric blue chartreuse. What I'm gonna try and do, I'm not gonna show you every single one of them. They sent me a bunch of colors on both sides, but I am gonna show you like the bigger one if I've got it out in the, so you can see the colors a little bit better. But since I've already got this one rigged up and we've been catching fish on it, this is electric blue chartreuse in the 2.75. This is the 2.75 natural goby. One of my go-to colors here, especially in this dirtier water, ghost shad. Great color here, electric shad. This is called 210. And believe it or not, this is one of my favorite clear water colors. I don't know what this is. This is kind of my go-to. I don't know what it is about this color when it even comes to their hot shot minnow. And that is Pro Blue Red Pearl. That is a great color. All right, geeks, listen, before we go any farther, I want to talk to you about something very important. I was actually at work the other night, and one of the ladies that cleaned the building there, she was actually telling me about someone who had fell at the boat ramp on this lake that we're on right now, and he passed away. So, you know, that is something that if you're by yourself, if you're loading your boat, you know, the tongue of the boat trailer is slippery. Climbing up and down on the trailers, no matter how old you are, it's dangerous. It takes one time to slip and fall in this cold weather and hit your head, and the worst could happen. That's why I love to have my boat effects steps on every single boat that I own. Had it on my Triton, and I've got them on my Camus. And if I buy another one, another Camus, they'll be on that one because they are really the best steps. They have been on this boat now for 2 years. I've not had to tighten them. They, you know, my big 350-pound rear end climbing up and down all the time, they hold up. Make sure you go check them out. I've got a 5% discount. It right here. Go pick some up. All right, let's talk about rod, reel, and line setup. Generally, anytime it comes to my spinning gear, my go-to is almost always a medium fast action, and it's the same when it comes to this. Now, I love my TFO rods. You can tell because they don't even make this version anymore. They've actually turned this into the Taction. So I will leave links in the description below. This is the TFO Tactical Elite. It is a 7'3" medium fast action, kind of my go-to setup. 7'3" to 7 foot generally is what I'm going to go with. I like a 7'3" when I'm doing this because I can make longer casts to open water bass, or I can stay back off of these places like this and keep the boat away from them so that I don't spook them when the water's super clear. Now, reel, this is one of my favorite Lures reel. This is the Custom Pro Speed Spin. Good aluminum body, holds up. I've never had the first trouble out of these, and I've used these for years. I tagged that with K9 fluorocarbon, 10 to 20 pound. I like the 10 because I can cast a little bit longer. It's a smaller diameter. That's going to be my main line. And then Pro 100 K9 fluorocarbon. Geeks, I'm telling you, go try it. There's a 10% off discount. Try a spool or two. You're not going to be sorry. You're going to love the braid. You're going to love the fluorocarbon. Pro 100 is 100% fluorocarbon. Fluoro is the co-poly. Now that is great for horizontal baits, treble hook baits, spinner, chatter, that sort of stuff. Anyway, go check out K9, 10% off. And I forgot to say 8-pound test fluorocarbon on here. So there's a couple of different ways to fish this bait. Of course, with live scope, we can fish it out in open water, bring it across. Don't be afraid, just because you're not fishing a minnow bait, don't be afraid to shake it like a minnow bait. That tail wiggle is going to give it something completely different. You're going to be able to hold that swim bait in place a little bit longer. That's one of the ways we were catching them today on this little bait. Now, the other way, of course, is like right down a bank like this, a bigger bank, or even a bank like this chunk rock bank over here to our side. You can go out there. We know there's a bunch of fish on it. You can go out there, sink it to the bottom, give it just a little lift, and just slow roll it and contour those banks with them. It's a great thing about a swim bait. You can fish it pretty much anywhere, any way you want. and you can kind of keep it at whatever depth level, whatever spot in the water column the bass are. So it's a great bait to figure out if they're going to bite, especially a small little bait like that 2.75. Incredible bait to get bass, even big bass, to bite when they won't bite anything else because it's so non-intrusive. As far as the retrieve on both of them, you can throw it out there and you can reel it straight back. You can throw it out there and you can slow reel it, contour this bank, or you can throw it out there and you can give it a little bit of shake on its way back to get that bass's attention. As far as hook set, it's going to be the same, straight up to a 45-degree hook set. I'm partial to the 45, even though I say straight up most of the time. And other than that, just get them to the boat, play them, take your time with them, wear them out, especially if you're fishing for smallmouth this time of year, because they're mean. Get them up there, have your net ready, reach down, get them with your thumb, or do what I do, boat hop everything. Definitely two of my favorite companies, Omega and XZone Lures. Love their little swimmer, their swim baits, and I mean, Omega makes so many good things, from jigs to these new little heads. I'm extremely excited to put these things to work. So if you're out there on a pressured lake with finicky bass, make sure you pick up that 2.75 XZone swimmer and that Omega hookup, because you will hook up with both of those. Now, if you want to see some other cool products from Omega, especially a jig that is pretty much 100% snag free, go check out this video right here. Otherwise, questions, comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk about fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get the notifications when these videos come out. Hey, I want to say thanks. We have been blowing it up, and it is thanks to you, 100% Watch Squad. You geeks rock.